I'm very happy to be with you, and I see at the screen that there are a lot of people which we have to be in the past together, and I'm very happy to be with you. And just to repeat once more, I'm very happy to be here, and I'm always ready to be with you whenever you need my presence. Actual today's head subject, peace, is shown in all your activities wherever the society is needing it. I think this is a limited process, but international, and I will try to share everything that I can in these limited times. Unfortunately, we are going in such a time where globally we are heading towards a very distinct issues with sharp edges in the history of humankind. In this period, unfortunately, it seems that we are in a period where we have to take and consider some definitions and re-evaluate them again. The society contains of people, but from my point of view, everything starts with the human being and the war inside the person, the traumas inside the person itself. Having told you that I want to share as much as possible, it can be that I switch from one point to the other during my speech. In order to have peace, we have to have war. It started actually with Adam, of course, as a symbolic definition, where he saw Eve naked and said, "Please dress yourself. This is not appropriate." We always have two definitions: warm, cold. The third one could be actually therefore, we always have two phrases. Peace cannot exist without war. Other examples is like having someone on diet, going on trying to not to eat too much, but still having desire to eat. There is always a war, and a war between, and war and peace are really not being able to be alone. They have to go together. Looking at today's point, personal war has been with weapons, with bottoms for missiles. Yet coming on to the media, communication systems, what I have read during my education did not does not happen anymore. Everything has changed. Some have completely have been lost. Some are still going on. There were international media channels like CNN, BBC. There were two journalists reporting from Africa, from somewhere in the world, which were our realities. Nowadays, when we mean with media is organizations which have been established for manipulate the approach of the society. Even today, they had been in the past, but even today it could be in this way. We always get the news from the reporting's view, from his perspectives. When you read, when you listen, when you watch to that news, you only get what is really synthesized by that reporting person. In the last days, especially when capital and media have come together, and media owners most of the time coming from the commercial life, and the news which are really not independent changes a lot. Today, when we say media, do we really mean newspapers, TVs, or do we think about something else? If you look today on Instagram or other social medias, the fifth media, or is it something like Netflix or Amazon Prime or series or films? How do those issues change the life of us? For instance, how they smoke, do we apply it in our own life? Do we look at the haircuts, the way of dressing and apply it to us? We see that those influences have really are changing our lives. Like in American movies, drinking the coffee, we also apply this, and nowadays we Turks do not get out without having a cup of coffee in the morning. We are like a sponge, taking everything what is imposed on us and become a human being. We, living in a society, we have to behave and act according to the norms of our society we are born in. Even if you look at our decision takes, it seems like we are just following the codes that has been implemented to our behavior. It's like nowadays talking of AI, we are just acting according to the codes given to us. If we look at today, we can say, looking at the international relations, it's very egoistic. Everything is looking for its own benefit. We even say, if my boat is sinking, I don't care what happens to the other boats. If you look again of today's, there are braveries, violence. Okay, however, But if we even, I mean, we are applying what we have really seen, even in our own little lives, like asking the taxi to wait by giving him more money, giving a tip, which is a kind of bribery as well. In looking in within 2-3 years, everything will change. Even in the next 10 years, I believe that everything will have a big change. We try to make some assumptions. Look at the telephone, mobiles that we have. It changes every 6 months term. This change will get even more quick. Look at the definition of democracy. Democracy has changed. The definition of democracy has changed. It's said that the majority election, the majority of the votes is valid, but nowadays it means that every single voter has the right to say something and to say. It comes to the new definition called DAO, D-O-I. During my last meeting with the Bostancı Rotary Club, we talked about also metaverse. We are defining the new terms. We are doing communication without contact. Nowadays, we are creating our own media channels like YouTube, Instagram, MP3. And when seeing the violence, the war outside, and the evolution of the human being is still continuing, what are we doing? Are we applying those violences in our own medias? Do we really love? We can say I'm a good person, but are we really? The startup behavior of the human being is really questionable. There are several groups. I'm excluding Rotary on that, but we are really giving just doing crocodile tears, showing, saying we care of them, like in Africa, the poor people, but at the end of the day, it's my child, my family, it's my family and me. Even looking at from the highest intellectual level, it is inevitable that what belongs to me, there is a border of what is mine, what belongs to me, what belongs to us. For also in the history, by creating the word inhabitant, we see that's my London, that's my land, my wealth.
Yani şunu söylemeye çalışıyorum. Çok iyi biliyor daha önce seminerlerime katılanlar. Etrafınızdakiler şunu söylüyor olabilir. Bu dünyada sevgi bitti, insanlar çok kötü, kimse...
You can hear that love has ended, there is no care anymore around us. However, we should really question what is around us, what are we doing? Today, really knowledge is reachable to everyone. It's there. If you talk in macro design, everyone loves the other. There is good, everyone wants peace, everyone wants wealth. However, when they look inside themselves, they just look in the car in front of them and think, why not mine? The reason for that is the ego's first approach is to exist. After the Industrial Revolution, those societies who there is always the desire for more, and that's also given. Those who are more privileged, they live in a far better version. If you look in the past 20 years, I believe that people are put to be unknowledged. They are not educated well enough, and they on purpose. Everything is served by the media. Human being requires something to overcome the troubles of being alive. The question of what's the sense of you being there is most of the time neglected because it can really give hurts. What has been given to us? What is our privileges? What is our priorities? We were born to get a good education, to have a home, to have a car, to have a good business, so on.
Pandemi dönemi bir zil demiştim. Buluşmalarımızda ve bütün paylaşımlarımda. İkinci zil çalıyor şu anda. Ve üçüncü zil geldiğinde...
The pandemic was actually the first alarm. Right now, the second one is going on. And the third one will be far more difficult because all the isms, all the paradigmas, all the paradigmas will be soon questioned. I'm talking about a world where really each single person has to look inside itself and define its internal roots. We have to face our own soon. For me, there are two issues. One is reality, the other one is to be true. if you are not true, if you are really just talking about what is not the reality, it will not survive.
Sanki benzemiyormuş gibi oluyor. Yani bambaşka insanı göstermeye çalışıyoruz. Niye? Çünkü olduğun gibi olmanın neredeyse ayıp olduğu, sevilmek için,
nowadays,
hissetmek için neredeyse
it seems that you cannot show what you are. It's not what you want to be, but it's even if you to show what you are really, we are afraid of being not be accepted and be loved at. For instance, there was a study stating that every 12 minutes, one person there is a suicide due to mocking at Instagram about them. I think we are still in the cradle level of human being because we still develop weapons to kill each other. But we are heading towards a time of where governments, countries are discussed at. We are talking about governments who are invading others and pushing their own expectations. If you look at the metaverse, it could be also something else, named something else tomorrow. It is a world where they are a commune, where they can set their own definitions, own ways of living, instead of a government, an organization, an institute imposing it to them. We see from what happened, each of us is responsible of us. If I turn on the TV, I can get mad of Putin, someone else. But we have to also question what each of us is doing for the benefit of the life.
İnandığımız şeyleri hayata geçiren insanlar olarak yaşamaya başladığımız an itibariyle makro üzerinde bir şeyler yapmaya ve değiştirmeye başlayabiliriz. O yüzden
by doing little things to show them that everyone is valuable, we can start to make a good startup for the new way. Each single person is valuable, is valuable and should be recognized. And this is the journey that has to be headed towards. As said, if one definition needs a controversial definition to exist, that means being against war needs to be against war needs to be for peace. Whatever we want to establish today, I will be then on the right way. I think there is no media anymore. We are creating our single institutions.
Netflix o bugün var. Web 2 için var ama Web 3'te eğer bireyi biz kurtaracağız,
Netflix, TV programs for news, they will not exist anymore. Society means establishing the realities with the support of laws.
En büyük ahlaksızlar ahlak koyuculardır. Dolayısıyla her birimiz bence şu anda global olarak söylüyorum, lokal olarak da söyleyebilirim. Aslında kimse şu anda yönünü tam olarak bilmiyor. Şu anda bir kaos, şu anda bir
morality is also set by the society. Yet we see that the biggest unmorals are those who are setting the morality rules.
O yerini yavaş yavaş farklı bir oluşuma bırakacak. O yüzden bugün bizim yapabileceğimiz şey ne peki?
What can we do today? Is it just to say, tweet stating that I'm against war?
Niye? Çünkü işte benim doğalgazım kesilecek.
Or because we are afraid that our natural gas will be cut off, or our economy will get down, or is it really that every one of us have a responsibility and there is no time to lose? We have to start with our own media to do the right thing. Just to open our camera and reach 5 or even thousands, to take the responsibility and to evaluate what we are doing instead of what I am doing. I believe that what was in the past, the oligarchy putting the society under threat, is over. If you are afraid, you can't do anything. If you are afraid, it's very easy to manipulate you. There are a lot of regions which are under war, which are invaded, which there are people dying, which are fed to us. Yet, as said before, the conventional media is really doing what they want to give us.
İnsanlık hiçbir zaman duramadı, durmayacak da. Sonuçta ben ileriye doğru gittikçe daha ileriye gitmek isteyeceğim. Uçağı bulduk diye yetinmedik, daha hızlı uçmak istedik. Işık hızında uçmak istiyoruz.
We are evaluating, as you know. The plane was invented. We have new airplanes which are flying much more quicker.
Her birimiz şu anda ne katıyoruz? Nacizane yani benim şu anda belki de insanlara
evaluation will not stop.
Ne olur ama ne olur. Dijital dünyadan uzak durmak.
What I really want to emphasize here is, I really ask you, I beg you not to stay away from the digital world. Whoever is really strong in this digital world, they will develop their own future life much, much better. There are no, we are just ahead of definitions like communism, capitalism, where is we really have to get away of what should be, what have to be, but I'm speaking at Aretian language, actually. If you look at today's governments or the conventional media, it is really shrinking. And I'm happy because there is the definition singularity entering into our definition into our language. Please look at the individualism starting from single person, and it will develop your way.
Çok iyi biliyorsunuz. Eskiden şey derdik. 50 yıl sonra bu mesleklerin %50'si olmayacak derdik. Şimdi ise 10 yıl sonraki mesleklerin %50'sini bilmiyoruz. 20 yıl sonraki mesleklerin
Please raise your children also according in this way, because we even don't know what will be the future professions. In the past, we said 50 years, this will not exist. Nowadays, we don't even know what will happen, what professions will be there in the next 10 years. Oradan çıkacak bilgilerin zaten aslında birçok kurumun şu anda o bilgilere hazır olmaması ve birazcık da o yüzden even today we know that we will hear Göbekli Tepe news because we still do not know what information, what knowledge we will get from there, and therefore we will continue to speak about it. We want to live in peace. We know that in digital world there are no boundaries, and we have to really think about what are we adding to this way. If today the politicians speak about peace, we know what they really mean. If politicians say something, we really know what they mean, and it is not easy anymore to manipulate us. I really ask you to take your own media into consideration and take it serious. And it is really important that to share information is important. The word media, I believe, will never more exist. Today, we said öğretmenler gerçekten bugün çocukları yetiştirmek için büyük çoğunluğu lütfen düşünün. Yoksa o mudur? Role of media, but I don't think that it will have any more a role in the future. Sağlamak için kendi çocuğuna daha iyi imkanları sağlayabilmek için sadece işini yapan insanlar mıdır? Bugün siyasetçiler gerçekten ülkelerin, insanların refahı için çalışmaktadırlar. It is questionable if the politicians are really working for the benefit of the country or today if journalists are working for the benefit of the society or just for their own benefit to keep their own life going on. 100 yıl öncesinde paylaştıklarının, söylediklerinin bugün çok ilginç. Bugün Twitter'da çok güzel bir şey gördüm. Çok hoşuma gitti. Yani öldükten 100 yıl sonra ülkesini yöneten tek lider herhalde Atatürk'tür. Today I saw a phrase and it stated after having died 100 years ago, Atatürk is the only leader governing the country. Şimdi futbol maçı, futbolcular, Survivor'daki yarışmacılar gündem. İnsanların gerçekten böyle yürekleriyle takip ettikleri. But it's really difficult nowadays because we are fed with like survivors, football players trying to survive on an island, playing games. But
yaydığınız enerji, yaydığınız
But
bilgi belki hiç olmadığı kadar daha değerli.
yet
İki günde
your knowledge
belki hiçbir zaman olmadığı
supporting a student who needs any support or any
ve her birinin
someone who needs really like
ve bunu YouTube'a koyduğunuz anda bunu bugün Metaverse'de yapıyoruz.
it's much effective.
Hiç olmadığı kadar yüreğinizdekileri paylaşma zamanı.
It is really very important to share
İsterim ki soru geldi mi bilmiyorum gerçi chat'e bakmadım ama
to share
isterim. Eğer sorularınız varsa
your
çok da mutlu olurum.
approach to support
Monolog olmaz. Benim
those who need those supports, which you all do. I can talk till in the night, yet actually I would like to have more questions and replies.
Katıldığınız için çok teşekkür ediyorum öncelikle zaman ayırdığınız için bize.
Her zaman.
O kadar açıklayıcıydı ki seyircilerimizden soru göremiyorum. Çok detaylıydı. Bütün en küçük noktalara.
If you have any questions, I would be pleased to answer it.
Soru var mı? Ben tekrardan arkadaşlarıma döneyim sorular için.
Her tanışma başlangıç hep söylediğim gibi.
As I always say,
Melda Hanımcığım, çok sevgilerimi, selamlarımı iletiyorum. Görmedim ben.
I'm greeting you, Meltem, Mrs. Meltem, who she also supported me during my thesis.
Bu mesaj çok iyi geldi bana.
Your message is really very much appreciated.
Ben bir son şöyle bir toparlama yapmak istiyorum.
Okay, I want just to summarize. Please, when you start your Twitter,
önem vermeyin. Bunu çok samimi olarak söylüyorum.
do not
Twitter dezenformasyonla birlikte
consider those news don't take it serious, because nowadays all those news are manipulated, especially with those robot accounts with AI. There is a big manipulation and disinformation. Try as much as possible to reach the real news, like Discord. There are more true news. The world is not that bad. The street is not that bad. Those when we understand that those big guys are not to be really obliged to follow, we will really be more happy. Each of you is really very valuable. I really wish everyone the best, because I would be pleased to share with you all my notions, because we came from me to us, and we will be always in contact if you need any contacts from us, from our side.
Ne mutlu bana eğer öyleyse. Çok teşekkür ediyorum. 2 günde de umarım çok güzel verimli konuşmalar olmaya devam edecek.
I hope you will really enjoy these next 2 days.